Hello everybody to our next YANUZ dialogue. And today we are talking about change agency mentoring. And for it I brought my very dear friend Ben, who is working as one of our mentors in the YANUZ family. Ben, welcome. Thanks for your time. And please, for those who don't know you yet, please introduce yourself, who you are and what you do, please.
Yeah, so my name is Ben O'Rourke. I work for Spin Sport Innovation and I support our actions on social innovation and change with a background in quality management and evaluation.
Thank you very much, Ben. Ben, as said, you are one of our mentors in the YANUZ family, and this directly brings us to our first question. And the first question is about what does mentoring a change agency mean to you, and how does it actually look like?
Yeah, so mentoring for us is really an eye-level cooperation. So it's very far away from this kind of classical tutor-student perspective, where on the one side you have an expert sitting and on the other side you have a receiver of information or wisdom. Social innovation and change is a very dynamic beast, so where no two situations are the same, and it requires that the mentoring process itself is then dynamic and involves the fact that the mentoring process is subject to this kind of continual learning process to meet the dynamic needs of social innovation and change. So we need to be in a position where we can understand the specific needs of a change agent and apply specific resources to those needs. And it's really based on this idea of co-creation. The mentoring process is fundamentally built around the co-creation of solutions to overcome challenges which you might experience when you're either setting up or implementing a community of practice.
Thank you very much, Ben. You've been mentioning once or twice already the process we are implementing. And this actually leads me to the next question. Ben, how does the mentoring process look like in practice that you're implementing for the change agents?
Yeah, so the mentoring process, it follows a kind of mixed pattern between online and offline. Online, you can really find some fantastic resources nowadays about social innovation and change, especially through elements like the YANUZ platform, where you can get an introduction to social innovation and change. You can find out about communities of practice, and you can even find now best practices or interesting practices about how communities of practice have been implemented in the context of healthy lifestyle. And what we do, and I think where we can really help, is moving those resources from an offline environment into an online situation, and kind of translating those tools into specific context. And what we try to do as far as possible with the mentoring process is to put a change agency or change agents into the best possible position to find innovative solutions to the challenges that they might confront when they're setting up or implementing communities of practice. So we're really there to accompany, to support, and to allow these new approaches to evolve.
Thank you very much, Ben. Being in such a mentoring process and running a community of practice, certainly this also brings one or the other challenge with it. So this leads me now to my next question to you. And the question is, what is a typical challenge you help change agents to overcome?
Yeah, I think there's always quite a few different challenges which we see with through the mentoring process, but I can probably split it into maybe two categories. And firstly, it's the idea of theory to practice or practice to theory. Normally, there's a bit of a deep breath when people first enter into the environment of social innovation and change, because there's quite a lot of abstracted concepts there. So if you're at a practical level and you're very grassroots based and you're able to get things going on a local community level, engaging then with those kind of more abstracted concepts can be a little bit challenging. So we try as far as possible to assist that process. And also the other way around is also true. So that some people we work with are actually very well versed in the concepts, but lack the mechanisms at the grassroots or community level to get things moving. So I think a big part of mentoring is to kind of translate between those two. The second part of the challenges aspect is the recognition of solutions, a bit more straightforward than the first one, but within social innovation and change, and especially through the mentoring process, we really recognize the fact that there is an individual state. So no two scenarios are the same, but we also have to accept that there are overlaps between what people have done before and the experiences that they have, and the tools and resources which are being created as a result of that. And how do we match those two up? I can give you maybe a concrete example of that. Is that we often get the question, how do I bring more businesses into my ecosystem? And although every situation is different, we know that broadly speaking, from experience and from having set up communities of practice and having approached this problem numerous times now, that the maybe more traditional view of going to a business and asking something from them is less attractive to businesses. We know that if we meet them at eye level, if we set up a partnership and we create a relationship which is mutually beneficial, then it's much more attractive for a business to A, be involved in the first place, and B, then to remain involved. So those are probably the two categories of challenges, and we try as much as possible within the mentoring process to find co-created solutions within them.
Thank you very much, Ben. That is really good advice, I think, and really good input. Ben, communities of practice, they are a learning pathway, as we like to describe them. And it's all about learning together, co-creating and sharing knowledge. So we always try to wrap up a little bit with sharing some personal experiences and knowledge. So please, as a last question, I would like to tell us what is your most important advice to social innovators and change agents?
I think the main advice that I can give is to get very comfortable very quickly with planning the unplannable. And what I mean by that is that given the dynamism of social innovation and change, things will evolve and develop beyond your planning. We know from experience that you need to have some degree of planning in order to bring people together, to engage with your vision and to establish a network of stakeholders. But actually what you want to happen is that your plans change. And that might be a little bit contradictory, but if your plans are changing and your concept and your idea of your community of practice is changing and developing and evolving, it means that you're actually incorporating the feedback and the knowledge from within your own community of practice effectively. So that's the first thing. And I think the second thing is to really engage with the existing network of people that have set up communities of practice in the past. The YANUZ platform is an absolutely fantastic example of that, of where you can really easily access people who have been in your position before. Where you might not necessarily learn from them is the outputs and exactly how they implemented their community of practice. Where you can really benefit is from understanding how they approach things. What did they do when certain ideas failed or certain concepts didn't quite work out as they had to? And how did they adapt? How did they progress? I think those are the ways that you can really add value to your own community of practice. And that's probably the best advice I can give to somebody in that position, is to connect as much as possible with people who've been in your position before.
Ben, that was fantastic advice. It's about the relationships, it's about the people, and it's about learning together, co-creating together. Ben, this brings us to an end with this dialogue. Many thanks again for your time, and yeah, I certainly hope that you will be able to help many more change agents and local communities of practice of really making a change. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you, Matthias.